Welcome to OM James Talks. This is OM James talking to you, and this is a Talking Tuesday. This is going to be one of the days where I do my talking. I talk about something interesting. Today, I don't think is a very boring subject. I think today is going to be something that's going to be interesting. I hope so. That's what I'm shooting for. And what we're talking about today is going to be how to be a gaming father. How you can be a father of children. How you can be trying to run a family at the same time, try to actually not even run a YouTube channel, but just like play games. Just be able to have time to play games. It's important to you. How do you fit it into your schedule? That's basically what we're talking about today. I got a few points I really want to touch on, and I hope that I can inspire you to play games if it's important to you, while at the same time being able to maintain the family lifestyle that you're looking for, because everything has its place, and that's what we're going to find today. So, hope you guys are well rested. Hope you guys are having a good morning. Hope so far you've had your coffee, and it's been an awesome morning. These go out about 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I do that specifically because it goes across the U.S. at more like standard times. It's like all throughout the day, and by the evening, it's not even by the evening, but like midday, it's on the East Coast, and then by the evening, it's up in the UK. So that's the whole idea behind doing the launching, or not the launching, but the airing of episodes when I do. Anyway, yada yada yada. None of this here, neither here or there. We're gonna jump right into this. So I've broken this down into a few big key points, and the first key point is how important to you is gaming, and that's really the biggest question of the whole thing: is how important to you is it to be a gamer? Because if it's I imagine that if you're watching this video, it is important to you, especially if you've gotten this far into it already. If you've already pressed stop, then you're not even hearing me talk right now. You don't realize you're missing out on some really good advice right now. But if you are a father, or not even a father, let's just say you're somebody who wants to get into gaming, but they don't find a lot of time for it, that there's a few things that to keep in mind. For example, let's go back to the family thing. So if you are a family guy, if you are a family man, or even just a wife, if you're not even a wife, just a mother, if you're some aspect of the top of that family tier, and the most important thing to keep in mind is that even if you are into gaming, that having time for your family and being there for your family is more important than anything. I mean, by far, your family comes first. So if you have to give up on gaming, not entirely, hopefully, but if you have to give up on gaming for a little while and focus more on your family, like right now I'm going to take off the headphones. I just realized that I don't need to wear headphones, I'm not listening to anything, I'm just talking. Put some music in the background. But if you're making time for gaming, you also have to make sure that you have more time for your family. The family thing comes first. And without your family, you got nothing, right? Oh, I got some see-throughness going on. Just realized that. There was like some right there. Maybe it's because it was so white. Anyway, my headphones were kind of see-through. So, let's break that down a little bit. So instead of just saying that family comes first, let's say exactly how that comes into play. And that is that I don't think you should ever use gaming as an escape from your family. Like, I've been there, like my family's yelling at me, my kids are yelling at me, my wife's yelling at me, everybody needs something from OM James, and it's easy to jump into a game and try to escape from what you're supposed to deal with. But I would highly recommend you never use gaming as an escape. Escape from the pressures of fatherhood or motherhood, whatever it might be. I don't think that you should use that as that. And instead, to realize that gaming can be not necessarily an escape, but it could be something a lot more healthy than that. If you go to it as an escape, then it becomes a habit you form that if you don't want to be with your family, you want to be with games. And I don't think that's very healthy. I don't recommend that. I think that you can find a much more healthy way to play games and to go to games, not as an alternative to dealing with your family, but as an alternative to not gaming. As an alternative to not finding a lot of accomplishment in your life. Let's put it that way. So one good example is making sure that you play games with your kids, or play games with your wife, or play games with whoever it is that's helping you raise your children, whatever it might be, that just to make sure that your family are playing games together. Because if it's just you playing games, then it's your thing. And if it's you guys playing games together, then it's more of a family thing. And like things like that Nintendo Wii. You can play the Nintendo Wii, you can play sports games, you guys could all bowl together. But even playing classic Nintendo, I'm kind of a retro gamer, so for me it's like classic NES, classic Super Nintendo, classic Sega. I mean, like older style games that I might want to play with my children and my wife and my family, like all together. But even like card games, not even necessarily video games, but like any kind of gaming, that games are a great way to bring people together, while at the same time challenging everybody, making people want to, let's go work mode, not invest, but making people want to engage with each other. You know, like making people want to actually have a good time together and not just sit around looking for something to talk about, but to actually have something to accomplish together. I think that that's a really healthy thing. And I think the games, it's one of the things that it does for us. It brings us all together that way. And to realize there's a way that you can kind of bring together not only gaming, but your family life. You can kind of marry the two into one singular sensation that ends up really making it healthy, not just for you, but for everybody else who's involved. Also, last but not least, on this singular point right now, is that while making time for your family to make gaming, like to game with your family or to find a way to have gaming not be an escape from your life, at the same time, you want to be able to take a break from it when you need to. You know, like game... It sounds silly right now because you're probably watching this and thinking that it's hard to even find time to game. But if you end up finding the time to game with your family, whatever it might be, but it gets to the point that you need a break from it, I think it's really healthy to know when to be able to step away from that too at the same time. Focus just on the family and then take a step away from the family so much and focus on the gaming a little bit. You know, get to where you're getting that next level or getting to the next save point, whatever it might be. But you get a chance to take a break from either gaming or your family or together. You can do it at the same time, do it separately. It's not just a binary. There's like 4 different possible values there. It's let's go through real quick. There'd be playing with your family, playing by yourself, and then no, that's about it. Those are those 2 right there. But then also taking a break from your family and playing more games, taking a break from the games, having more family time. Whatever it might be, it's important to find that balance. The next big question, in my opinion, is going to be that if gaming for you want it to be a hobby. Because there's a difference between a hobby and an escape. If it's an escape, then it's something you do when you don't want to have to deal with the other things in your life. You know, and there's nothing really to gain from it so much except the fact that you're not dealing with the things you don't want to deal with. It becomes an escape thing. It becomes a coping mechanism. You know, you do it because it gets you away from the things you don't want to have to deal with. So instead of dealing with them, you play games. And you don't want that. That becomes unhealthy. It gets to where that's like where your brain goes. It's where your desires go. It's where you want to go. You want to escape. You want to get to that thing instead of dealing with what's important in life. You don't want to do that. But if it's a hobby, then it's something that can be constructive, something that's mostly for you. You know, you can share it with other people, of course, but it's mostly for you, and there's something to show for it, something to come after that. If I were to look at my YouTube career, then as a hobby, it's that my outcome of this, the thing I'm constructing, is this whole community of videos and people that are into the videos and people that watch the videos and me being the people that make the videos. Like, it's a whole thing that's contributing toward that. That's my construction. That's what I'm putting together by having this as a hobby. And if you want to game with it, not even if it's on YouTube, but just having a gaming hobby, you have something to show for it. You can build up your gaming skills. You can have time with your family to where like you and your kids talk about Super Mario Brothers for the next 30 years, whatever it might be, that you have something to show for it. Something you're building towards, something constructive. I think that's really, really important. Okay, let's move down a little bit. Okay, so real quick, let's take a tangent. Instead of getting so focused on how to be directly a gaming father, or a gaming parent, a gaming family person, is what kind of games you want to play. Can we do this real quick just for a second? And break it down into retro or modern gaming. Now, both of them have their pros and cons. So if we're going to talk about gaming for a little bit, let me talk about the differences between retro and modern. Let me talk about why I'm into retro gaming as opposed to modern gaming. There's lots of pros and cons again. And I do some modern gaming, but for the most part, I'm kind of a retro gamer. But there are some pros. Let's talk about the pros to retro gaming. 3 pros, 3 cons, yeah? For one, retro gaming is cheaper. You know, if you want to spend, I mean, you could probably spend about $500 on a really, really rare Nintendo system that was from a certain year and only printed and developed in a certain country, like a really kind of rare thing. But for the most part, if you wanted even like, if you didn't mind emulation, you could buy some really cheap emulation systems out there. I can't talk about it yet. I have an unboxing coming up. I think it's probably going to be next week. Got a big unboxing coming up involving retro gaming emulation. I'm not going to get too deep into that, but I'm going to hint at it because I'm very excited about it. I was hoping it would come today, and that was going to be this week's episode, but next week I think I'm going to do that unboxing episode. Anyway, if you're in emulation, then retro gaming is very cheap. You can get a little portable device, or you can get a actual like device that plugs into your TV. I looked over there like for a reason. It's because my TV's over there. You don't know that. Your TV's somewhere else. Anyway, that if you were to, you can get a system that goes into the TV. It's portable. It goes on your phone. You can do it without even buying a system. You just already have it built into your pocket thing that you're doing on your phone anyway. You might as well be playing Nintendo games. That emulation makes it really easy, either cheap or even better, free to get into retro emulation, retro gaming. That's one of the big selling points for it. One really nice thing about it too is it's very niche. If you're into retro gaming, somebody says, "Hey, do you play Fortnite?" And you're all, "No." "Oh, okay, so you play COD, right?" "No." "Okay, so what do you play?" And you're all, "Man, I play only the original first two Legend of Zeldas, mostly the second one." That's niche. Now, that's one of the great things about retro gaming is it is a very niche thing. Instead of just being about general gaming, you're actually into one specific like world of gaming, and that being retro gaming. That's one of the great things about it. And there's good things and bad things about that. It's niche, meaning that it's hard to really locate and find anything, but at the same time, it's niche, meaning that you have a built-in crowd. And that's really the big appeal to it, is you have a built-in group of dedicated gamers that you can instantly tap into. With retro gaming, you have a whole community of people that are ready to jump into that. It's not like the 14-year-old Fortnite community. It's not like the people who've been playing the game, you know, that just came out and they're like, "Oh, it's the best graphics and the best sound, the best this and that, yada yada." It's not like that. Instead, you have this whole group of people to say, "Oh, this game came out before 2000, before the year 2000. All right, I'm interested." And that's really cool to have. So some drawbacks to retro gaming is based on looking at cheaper, is that it's also very hard to find. Sometimes it's the opposite. It's not cheaper. It's way more expensive because it's so hard to find. You got to pay extra money for it. And if that's the case, then it's not going to be beneficial. Modern gaming, you can get a game that came out like 2 or 3 years ago for like $10. You go looking for it. Even like popular games that started off at the top of the tier, the top of like popularity, and they ended up sinking down after a year or two. A good example of this was back in the day, a game came out called Black and White, Lionhead Studios. Great game. You play as a god. You have it was actually got in the Guinness Book of World Records as one of the most complicated, I think it was the most complicated AI at the time. It was in a video game. You had a little mascot, a little creature that followed you around and learned how to be good or bad depending on your actions, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, why'd I bring that up? Oh, it's because that game, when it first came out, it was a game of the year. It was a big deal. It was in the Guinness Book of World Records. It was on the label of the game. Winner of Guinness Book of World Records, most complicated AI. Like, it was a big effing deal that Black and White was out. And so you had to pay like $40-50 when it first came out, which, considering inflation, I'm sure that'd be at like almost twice that. That'd be like $60 to $75, whatever, like almost $100 just to get this game because it was so popular. But then 1 year later, I was back at Walmart and I found the game for $8.88. That was the exact price of it. It was on sale on the discount rack. It still had the winner of the Guinness Book of World Records AI like sticker on it. Everything was like it was really a big deal game, but it cost less than $10. And again, this was like 15 years ago. So that if it's cheaper, if it's more modern, sometimes it's way cheaper. If it's older and more niche and harder to find, like I'm sure they printed like 1 billion copies of that game Black and White because it was so popular, but then it lost its like niche appeal and suddenly it wasn't that popular anymore, so they had a bunch of extra copies of it, so they had to sell it for cheap. Whatever it might be, that being cheaper is not always better. Sometimes, not even cheaper, being retro is not always better because now it can be cheaper, but it could also be harder to find. So that's kind of the both sides of that one. The modern gaming, let's talk about modern gaming for a second. One of the greatest appeals of modern gaming is that it appeals to the kids. It appeals to, let's go back to family again. See what I'm doing there? That it appeals not only to kids like in general, like your kids, but also it appeals to the general person you talk to. It's like a really good conversation starter. Being up to date like that, being a modern game that just came out, you're like, hey, did you play that new Far Cry 15 or whatever? You know, like some new game that just came out. Like, it's exciting. Did you play Skyrim 3? That's a joke. See if you're an Elder Scrolls fan. Anyway, that talking about new games that just came out or playing them with your kids or just having a conversation starter like that could also be very powerful, very valuable. And that's one of the great appeals of modern games, is that you're part of the current conversation. You know, that's one of the greatest appeals to it. And also, honestly, modern games are prettier. They're going to be better sound. They're going to be better directed. They're going to have better voice acting. They're going to be more invigorating. They're going to be built on the shoulders of giants that came before them. You know, like the newest Call of Duty game is going to have some things that it owes to Mario as creating the initial like aspirations of what a game could be. You know, like all these things that the modern games do that are so beautiful and amazing and pretty and gorgeous, make you want to play them all the time. Even if they're free to play, they try to demand your money every 10 minutes. You still want to play them because they are a modern game. They look great. They look fantastic, and you want to keep contributing to that. All right. Let's wrap it up. It's like 14 and a half minutes, not including my intro. We're going to wrap it up real quick. But before I do that, here's my final closing points. One, you got to make time for both. If gaming's important to you, and especially, again, if you've gotten this far into this video, then gaming's important to you, especially as a parent, as somebody who has other dedications in their life they have to contribute time to. If that's the case, and if both of them are important to you, then you got to make time for both. I'm not saying 50-50. I think that, honestly, in my opinion, that families should get like as much of your time as possible. But if gaming is important to you, it's going to get more than an hour every month of playing games. You're not going to get to the point where you're itching going, man, I wish I was playing games right now. That's not going to be you. You're going to have time for it because it's that important to you. If you have time to go out and smoke a cigarette, it's because it's important to you. If it's snowing and there's a blizzard outside and you go out to puff on a cigarette, it's because it's important to you. So in the same way, if it's important to you to play games and it's important to you to have time with your family, you've got to make time for both. I think it's essential. Now let's go on. That's about it. The last thing I can say on that point is that if you find it hard to make time for gaming and you find it hard to make time for family at the same time, and you try to marry the two ideas together and it's just too difficult, then try to combine the two. Try to bring your family into your gaming obsession, your gaming intrigue, the thing you want to do with gaming. The reason why you're still watching this video now, if you want to really tap into that, then find time to bring your family into your gaming, whether it's your children playing games with you, your wife playing games with you, your husband playing games with you, whatever it might be, whoever it is that's in your life helping you with your children, maybe if it's just you, whatever it might be, to make time, not make time, but make an effort to bring all of that together into the same big pile of love, the same big pile of time well spent, having the time for all that at the same time. And maybe, again, maybe not even video games, maybe playing card games, maybe playing Mealborn, maybe playing Chutes and Ladders, maybe playing Candyland, maybe playing Super Mario Brothers, maybe playing Gears of War. You know, whatever it might be, find time to actually do those things together. Going to the park, going on the play area, what would you call that? What am I thinking of? The playground. That's the word. I was getting all confused with the McDonald's play place. Anyway, even just going to a playground at the park, you know, whatever it might be, just having that time. If it's just you going to the park by yourself on the swings, or it's you and your family going out all together to have some fun climbing, playing King of the Mountain, or playing Mario in your living room, whatever it might be, just making time for both. If they're both important to you, then you can make the time, make the effort, and make it happen. And I believe you can do that. But really, at the end of the day, the most important thing about gaming is having fun. If you're not having fun, if they're not having fun, then it's a waste of time. You got to make sure you're having fun. There's only so many hours in this life. And if you waste it trying to find a way to have fun instead of actually having fun itself, then it's not going to benefit you as much as actually enjoying what you're doing. So do that for me. All of you OMJamers, have fun, stay young, drink water, not Pepsi. And that's about all I wanted to cover. It's a little bit of a long episode. I don't mind that at all. It's like a personal one-person podcast. And I don't know, what do you guys think? You like this Talking Tuesday thing? I could do something other than just talking about something like this, but I thought this was a good topic, something that's close to my heart, something I can talk about passionately. I could do like a 45-minute episode. I'm trying to keep it a little bit shorter than that, less than 20 minutes. I'm already gone on 18, so excuse me. Guys, I'm going to leave it right there. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Thank you for getting this far in the video. If you haven't, if you have, let's do Kumquat. Kumquat. I think it starts with a K. Look it up. If you guys have gotten this far, do a hashtag Kumquat below. And again, OMJamers, thank you for joining me. And as always, make somebody smile today, guys. All of you, not just me, not just you, not just them over there. Everybody, make somebody smile. Make the world a better place to live in. Alright, I'm doing a post-credit. It's been long enough. Let's just do a new post-credit. Let's see if anybody sees this. I'm going to leave this post-credit on this video, on all the videos, until the end of time, until somebody responds to it. So